to welcome everybody here to Tuesday Night Talks. Really excited to have everyone here watching on Zoom, and also for those who will be watching later on when we provide this on YouTube. And really excited to be here, as always, every Tuesday night. This is week 16 that myself, Matt Elkin, and Scott Martin, my co-host, have been hosting these Tuesday Night Talks. So we appreciate everybody that's been tuning in. It's been great so far, and we have another great lineup this evening that we're excited to bring to you. Before we get things started for the evening, I just really quickly wanted to share my screen with everybody. So if you take a look here, we are really excited about our upcoming Utah Showcase for our all academic basketball circuit. We had an amazing time in Chicago last week, got some really fantastic feedback from the coaches that were tuning in on live stream and the coaches that were able to make it in person. But as you can see, we have our Utah Showcase coming up. We have some more events coming up in September and throughout the rest of the fall. So if you guys need anything, have any questions, you can visit the website down below, or you can reach out to myself or to Scotty, and we'd be more than happy to help. In the meantime, as we kind of get excited to return to the court and kind of give you guys an opportunity to hopefully learn more about what these next steps in your experience are going to be as you guys become recruited as college student athletes. Part of this Tuesday Night Talk series is we're bringing you guys head coaches from some awesome universities across the country. And so we are really excited to welcome our first speaker of the evening, Coach Josh Merkel from Randolph-Macon. Coach, welcome to Tuesday Night Talks. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me, guys, all the way on the East Coast here. And I love what you're doing. I've gone back. I've listened to a couple sessions, and yeah, it's a great thing to be on here with you talking hoops. So appreciate you having us.
Yeah, no, and thanks for joining us. We're really excited. Looking forward to speaking with you tonight. So before we kind of dive in, Coach, you've done a great job and had a ton of success recently in Randolph-Macon. But tell us a little bit about kind of your background before you got there in terms of your coaching journey up until today.
Yeah, love the opportunity to kind of talk about, the journey. And so grew up in Maryland and raised on a farm. I say hit the parent lottery, the oldest of 9. So just a unique experience growing up, and then got lucky. So in high school, went to St. John's Prospect Hall. It was the local high school I would have attended. And at the time, my freshman coach, Kevin Sutton, just phenomenal timing and luck that he was there. So he was my coach for 4 years, and Kevin Sutton is going on to be the head coach at Montverde and Georgetown, and he's currently at Rhode Island. But just a big time, that was my JV coach. So really got lucky at an early age. And Coach Sutton, I give credit. I still remember he's the reason that I got into coaching, like just how he impacted me and those around me. That really got me excited and wanting to coach high school basketball. So Stu Vetter was the head coach there as well for the varsity team, Hall of Fame coach. So I just had this incredible high school background that really prepared me and runs through, I think, our program in a lot of ways, the things that we did there. So go from high school to college. I went to Division III, Salisbury University in Maryland. Went through the recruiting process, so I have a lot of insight as a player going through it and deal with that now. I was one of those guys that was hoping and holding out for a Division I scholarship, so I can appreciate when guys might want to play it out, have a little more patience maybe with some of those guys, because I know that I was one of those guys at one time. Then after Salisbury, I went back to coach high school. I went back to my alma mater. The coach at the time was Bruce Kelly, former Division I coach, huge mentor of mine, and very fortunate to work with Bruce. I was the head JV coach and his assistant on the varsity level for 3 years. Thought I was going to be in high school forever. The opportunity came up to go to West Virginia and be the GA for John Beilein. He always jokes that I was not his first choice. I might have been his 13th choice, but it worked out. So West Virginia, incredible run, Elite 8. Our top assistant, Jeff Neubauer, gets the top job at Eastern Kentucky, the head coaching job at Eastern Kentucky. He takes me with him. I was out there as Division I assistant for 5 years. Worked with some incredible guys. Dale Wellman, who was just on the show a couple weeks ago, now at Nebraska Wesleyan. So Dale and I worked together. Teddy Hotelling, head coach at New Haven. Everett Sullivan, head coach at Lenore Rhine. David Boyd. And just got to work with some phenomenal guys, and Coach Neubauer is a great mentor and learned a ton. Went from there back to the East Coast and worked with Nathan Davis. Nathan gave me an opportunity to come and learn from one of the best in Division III. Incredible year there. I was there for 1 year, and then the head job at Salisbury opened up. So got to go back to my alma mater again and be a coach. So I have had the chance to go coach at both alma maters at the high school and college level. There for 4 years, phenomenal place, amazing people. But the job at Randolph-Macon opened back up when Nathan took the job at Bucknell. And so we moved. My wife and I met my wife at Salisbury, and we moved back to Richmond. And I've now been at Randolph-Macon this is going into my 6th year. Been here for 5 years. And I guess that sums up the journey. Yeah, sorry for the long-winded answer.
No, that's quite a journey, and you've got to work with some incredible coaches, and we'll get maybe more into that if we have some time later on. But so fast forward, now you're at Randolph-Macon. What was it about when you were looking at that decision and to making that transition? What was it about the school? Let's start there first. That really attracted you, and what do you use to attract players that might be on this call or players that are interested in the university?
Yeah, it's so you have the winning tradition. I think many people that know Division III basketball, they know the name Randolph-Macon. So 7th most wins, and there's just that tradition of excellence. To be just the 5th coach since 1956, and each of those coaches has either worked or played for one of the coaches previous. It's just a phenomenal continuity, and that's not just for the coaching tree, but that connects those players as well. And I'll probably get into that as well. But just that Jacket family, how close-knit the guys were. I had a sister that went to Randolph-Macon, played basketball, brother that went there and played soccer and tennis, and maybe got a little insight into their experiences. They raved about it, loved it. I said, what is it about this small school? And so it's the people is such a big piece, but that winning tradition, that championship DNA, and the chance to learn. I wanted to be a head coach. So the chance to learn how to run a Division III program, you're not going to get a better spot than working with Nathan Davis and Randolph-Macon at the time, which is what drew me there as an assistant, drew me back as a head coach, chance to coach unbelievable kids, compete for a national championship. And in the city of Richmond, where you have a lot going on, and just the chance to coach some really great kids was too good to pass up.
Yeah, definitely. And it's a great school, and obviously what you've been able to do to use that to attract some great basketball players as well, and have had a ton of success within recent years since you've been there. So tell us a little bit about the basketball program and kind of, what the last, several years since you've taken over and kind of what you're looking forward to in the future.
Yeah, I mean, you touched on it. It starts with, as every good coach will tell you, it's about the players in the program. And this tradition of excellence, the fact that guys have walked this journey before us. They've put in the work. We think of ourselves as a blue-collar program. I've been able to get to know Coach Rhodes and Coach Davis through the years. But a lot of things, like with Mike Rhodes, it's just that blue-collar mentality. Like, not only do we get talented players, some guys that slip through the scholarship cracks, and that's what we're going for. But we get those guys that when they get to campus, they're not their gift to Randolph-Macon. They're trying to develop. They're trying to get better. They have a chip on their shoulder or a couple chips on their shoulder. They want to prove that they can compete at the highest level. And I think so what it builds is an environment of guys that iron sharpens iron. They shape each other. They really compete. They understand that it's not about me too. If you look at our stats and numbers, we've had some great players, but it's never about the great player. It's about the team. And so all of those things, again, a lot of the groundwork has been laid, and it's been the coaches and players that have come before us. And the pressure is a privilege. So I think I feel it with the guys that have come before me. I think our players feel it, but that's a good thing. I think it drives guys to want to keep working and putting that time in the gym and be connected to each other.
Yeah, no, and I think you've done an incredible job. I mean, just last year alone, you guys were 28-2. One of those losses came to Division I Richmond on the road, right? And so protected home court. You guys had a phenomenal year, and so you've obviously done a great job on the basketball court as well as in the classroom with your students. I'm going to toss it over to Scott, and I'll have a couple more questions for you, Coach.
Coach, can you talk about your conference? Who you play against? Who's the competition for all the West Coast kids and Midwest kids who are on the call?
Yes, sir. And if I could, can I share my screen, guys? I'll throw up a PowerPoint right here. And you guys tell me if you can.
Here we go. I love it.
Can we see it? Okay, so yeah, this is the fountain, the center of campus. And can I just say this too, guys? So ignorance is bliss, okay? And so I say that like when I started looking through some of the interviews that you guys have done, I'm just blown away. I'm like, man, if these kids are looking at all these videos, we're not getting any of these kids because I want to go to all these schools too. Just you've had some great guests, some great schools, and you know, it might be helpful to all the student athletes watching to share with them too the Paradox of Choice article. I don't know if you guys are familiar, but it's like the more choices you have, the harder this decision gets. And I just go back to when I was choosing, it was like you didn't have the internet, or at least I didn't know how to use it at the time. And it was like you just, you know, guys weren't on cell phones because we didn't have those back then. You drove to a school. It was far less schools. And what you're doing is amazing and really is powerful and is giving guys some great insight. But I would encourage all the student athletes to be careful how many of those you dive into, or it's just going to make things tougher. Anyway, let's dive into this. And quick facts, we're located in Ashland, which is 15 minutes from Richmond and 90 miles from DC, so great location. 1,500 undergraduate students. We don't have grad school. The average class size being 16 and 11-to-1 student-faculty ratio. The tuition, it's $54,000. We're up to $54,000. And but I would say on average, students are paying about half that on average. Some more, some less, which is slightly more than what you pay for a Virginia State school here in Virginia. The EDGE program, so it's our career service network, just moved up to number 13 on the Princeton Review Services career services list. So super proud of that. And it's really, it's about guys don't just have to lean on our basketball network, which is super strong. And we love making those connections with internships and mentorships, but we can tap into the EDGE, which, you know, encompasses all the alums and the city of Richmond and the city of Ashland, and has been a powerful place to network. So I could tell story after story, but as we get guys to come in and connect with that, the EDGE their freshman year, we've just had a lot of success with guys getting internships even earlier than you would think, and just freshman, sophomore, and build that resume. It's been a powerful thing for us. Moving on. Alumni, you know, I wanted to touch on, because I know one of the questions is about the academics in the school. And listen, we are not number one liberal arts. You guys have had like maybe the top 50 on your show. So, you know, I don't know that that's our niche. I don't know that we compare there. We're a great liberal arts school. When it comes to alumni, though, I could rattle off, you know, the 2011 class that, and here's a cool thing. If I go to 2011, recruited by Coach Mike Rhodes, coached by Nathan Davis to the Final Four back in 2010. They lost to Wisconsin Stevens Point in the Final Four, and they went on to win it all. You see a bunch of those guys here in the picture. You see some older guys. You see some younger guys. This is a picture from one of the alumni games in February. But 2011 class alone, you got a couple financial advisors. You got an environmental lawyer in D.C. You got a teacher of the year and in future admin. We've got a guy in medical sales. And then another guy that's taking tumors out of people's heads. So it's like just in that 2011 class, you got a wide variety of professions and I think success that guys are doing. And maybe the most important thing is that a number of those guys are coming back. One of our traditions is Friends of Basketball dinner, over 150 boosters and alums that come back and get to know our team. Our guys get up on stage, they introduce themselves, and just a powerful, neat connection opportunity. I'm not sure how many schools get the chance to do that. We do it in November as we kick off the season. And I think what I'm most proud of is the amount of alums that continue to invest and pour in to get to know our guys and to get to know the current team. Just a picture of game day football Saturday. And these are the senior apartments are overlooking that football field. But just a great school. Campus sells itself. I think one thing that we don't get to see on this Zoom, but the best selling point for us is going to be our people. And, you know, no recruiter is going to get to meet our team necessarily through this Zoom. So hopefully we can get to that down the road. But Scotty, you had asked about the league. Got everybody up here: Lynchburg, Roanoke, Shenandoah, Washington, Lee. I'm not going to rattle them all off. We've got a great rivalry with Hamden, Sydney. Virginia Wesleyan has been a power, 2006 national champions. And what we say is this league is incredible. It's got great coaches and great players since 1976. I think well respected around the country. Guilford, certainly. I want to mention Coach Palumbo and the job he's done. But getting through this league prepares you for the tournament and prepares you to play any team that you're going to see when you get to the NCAA tournament. We talk about travel and studying abroad, and everybody says, hey, can we study abroad? You can as a basketball player. You know, our semesters span both spring and the fall. But what we've been able to do is take a trip with our team to play international competition. It's something that we've done over the last 24 years and take a team every 4 or 5 years. Last year was Costa Rica. 3 times before that has been to Chile. And just a phenomenal chance to play 3 games. One of our student athletes' probably most fond memory is going over there and experiencing that culture and everything that comes along with that trip. Moments and memories. We want every guy to experience this. Like Michigan, Bo Schembechler used to say, those who stay will be champions. And just a phenomenal experience to be able to cut down those nets. This is in Salem, where they did the Final Four for over 20 years, as you guys know. And that's where we do the ODAC championship, neutral site, each year, to get the chance to go down there and win 3 games in 3 days is super tough and makes it all the more worth it. Just some numbers of the team over the last 10 years, the last decade. But as I mentioned, 7th most wins in Division III, and then just came out 7th highest attendance, which we're super proud of, and says a lot about the community and the school support that we have too. Development, as I said, guys, is maybe one of the keys. That our guys, you have the chance, if you want to be a great player, you're going to get access to the gym. This is kind of our Hoosiers gym over here, and then Crenshaw is the one that we play on. But there's no reason for a guy not to be able to get in there. Pretty much all hours, we share it with basketball and with volleyball, and that's it. So guys have great access to get better and work on their game, and hopefully working in there with purpose. Couple things, I'll breeze through it because I do want to show a video too, but 416 teams in Division III. This is the national ranking. So something that we're proud of and take pride in is the assist turnover ratio. So it's not just that we play without turning it over, but we're also sharing it. And, we want that ball to find the weak defender. We want to touch the paint. And as you can see, number 5 in assists. So we love to share the ball, and we love to get those unselfish guys that can help us. And then defensively too, so it's not just an offensive-minded team, but super proud of number 1 in scoring defense, number 2 in defensive field goal percentage. We like to guard the arc as well. And then win percentage was behind Swarthmore. And shoot, I'm forgetting the other team right now. But something we take pride in, obviously winning each possession. And I think defensively, think of University of Virginia, and that's who we try to model ourselves after, is just making it super tough for teams to score on us. Pictures worth 1,000 words, so I threw a couple of these on here. Game winner, great game in Crenshaw, and you can just kind of see the joy, the emotion, different guys' faces. Packed house, tournament game against TCNJ this year. So this was the Sweet 16 game, and we were hoping to advance after this, but obviously season cut short by COVID. COVID beat us this year. Another look at Crenshaw against Hampden-Sydney. And then pregame. And that is it for the PowerPoint, guys. How am I doing on time?
Good. Great.
I think I got to stop my share somehow here. There we go. Can I show the video too? And
yeah, please do.
Yeah, let's see it.
Keep it rolling. All right. All right. Can you see that?
Yep.
Boom. And then what I might do, guys, is talk through it as we go, just like I would a recruit. But this was a game winner in Salem to advance to the championship game. Here we are, tournament game. You see it starts with defense, defensive minded. We want to turn that defense into offense. We want to play as fast as we can. Just being a defensive minded team does not mean that we're playing slow. Here we are again. So let's get a push, early push. We want to play in space and play with pace. You'll see the ball hopefully hunt the paint, touch multiple guys. Here's our big guy, 5-man, being sharing it. And just love the confidence the guys play with. They play to strengths. That's a big piece for us. Here we are, starts and stops. How we attack the paint, how we finish plays. Love to play off 2 feet. You'll see our big guy, forward Miles, freshman of the year and South freshman of the year. So we got some great young guys that we're excited about. You can see the ball touch the paint with the backdoor cut. And then we're just sprinting into the next action. Like to play a lot of concepts, like to have a lot of freedom within the structure. We talk about that a lot with guys. Again, start the offense with our defense. Let's race it up the floor. Let's hunt the paint. And let's hunt a great shot. So love the inside-out threes. We do have a green light where guys earn that green light, but we got a number of guys putting that time in the gym. So you can see we're trying to get that easy one before the defense is set. This is the ODAC championship game against the super Virginia Wesleyan team. The unselfishness again. You can see the bench too, guys getting excited, which is always something we take pride in. I think, one of the questions is always what type of guys are you looking for? And maybe guys, anybody that's watching can get a sense of some of the strengths and some of maybe the talent level even from this game. Corey Bay is a big time shooter for us, senior that just graduated. You can see him, just the ability to come off a screen. That was one of his strengths. Here's our 5-man David Funderburg, but I would say really big time ability to score one-on-one in the post. So we're always looking for a big guy that has a unique advantage or a unique strength. Here we are, just to look at the offense. So this is not a play call. This is just, we're trying to play through concepts. I would say it's a lot like how Villanova plays, 4 out, 1 in, or 5 out. That's our big guy, 4-man, passing to our 5-man. Here's a look at Buzz hunting the paint and going inside out for a great look for 3. Just a few more clips, I think. Here we are against CNU, another team that's had a couple Final Fours last 4 years and always helps us kind of up our game. That great competition brings out the best in you. And you can see a lot of these clips, we've really opened up this paint area. Not sure if you guys can see my cursor. But and last clip here is the Lynchburg game, tie game, last few seconds, the game winner. And just the excitement in Crenshaw, I know is something those guys won't forget. So
that's awesome.
Appreciate that encouragement there, Scotty. Appreciate that.
That was great. I mean, you have some, you have guys who have a lot of length, but you also have a couple guys who are 5'11", 5'10", and, it's a blessing to be tall. But what do you really look for in those guys who are in that 5'10" to 6 foot range? There's a lot of players who want to play college basketball at that height.
Yeah, Scott, it's almost something that we've learned as we've gone through it. But we started basically 3 guys. I guess our 3-man was 6'1", but he had been a 2-guard pretty much all the way through, and a 2-guard in high school. We moved him to the 3. We found that it's okay to be 5'6", 5'8", 5'9", whatever that height is, but strength is a big key. Not getting knocked off your spot. So I think if you are shorter, just being strong enough, durable enough too to stand up to the season. Stronger guys can typically they're good defenders as well. Well, I shouldn't say that, but our guys, the stronger guys that we've had, have also kind of doubled as great defenders, and that's the first way to get on the floor for us, is being a great defender. I hope that answered your question, but we've had great success. And man, if we can recruit 3 to 4 point guards, play with 3 point guards, they're decision makers. Those guys can see things before they happen. As long as they can defend, like Buzz, for instance, great story, but he's 5'8", 5'9". He's going to kill me. I said that. He's 5'10", let's say, an immediate guy. And, two-time All-American, 2-time Player of the Year. We're playing TCNJ, and TCNJ really well coached. I mean, they are giving us the business. We're down 1 at halftime. This is to go to the Sweet 16, and at halftime, Buzz is saying, "I got their All-American. He's 6'5". I got that guy, and everybody else kind of falls in line. But the ability, the versatility to have a guy that has confidence and then can actually follow through and be able to guard a bigger guy is super helpful.
I'm sure you guys have a weightlifting program during season, all that stuff.
Yeah. Take great pride in, we measure that stuff, and it's super important. I think it also pushes guys, and guys can compete internally. It's not just competing against your teammates, but it's also, are you making progress? Are you pushing? yourself to get better. That's an important piece. Kind of helps with that self-awareness stuff.
Yeah. And you have 3 guys graduate. You had 3 guys graduate this past year. What are you looking for in the next class? Oh, you have 3 seniors in this class. What are you looking for guys coming up? And you know, and it's a different year, but in a normal year, where do you do your recruiting? How do guys get on your radar?
Yeah, we're you know, we love. That's why we're talking now. I'd love to get a guy from West Coast Elite or West Coast in general.
There we go.
We'd love to start that pipeline. We get guys from the East Coast, so we all the way from Florida to Georgia. I would say more Virginia, Maryland, DC, North Carolina, Pennsylvania. Even we got one from New Jersey coming this year. So that's been the niche for us. So yeah, I would say the class that we're looking for, we're not looking for much. We've got a big roster coming back. We're looking for talent again. I think what it is this, and for maybe the student athletes listening, it's like, what unique strength are you bringing to the table? It could be versatility. You could be a Swiss Army knife, but what thing do you do so well that you're also going to do it better than your future college teammates? You know, lots of times you get guys that really think, like, here's the thing, West Coast League. I mean, you guys, you are putting out guys at top notch, both all levels, Division 1, 2, and 3. For us to get a guy from you that could get on the floor right away, shoot, that guy's getting recruited by the Division 1 schools. He's like a borderline scholarship level player. So we also like that. That's part of the hard thing about where we are, or the good thing too, depending on how you look at it. But we need a scholarship level guy. Again, it might slip through the cracks because he's 5'9", or he's skinny, or just something is not getting him that scholarship right now. Those are the guys that have the best chance kind of playing for us early on.
Do you attend like Ivy League camps, have your own camps? Are you more of a high school recruiter? Where do you find guys?
We have done all of that. Definitely high schools, of course, all the AAU. I mean, Coach Rhodes used to say, we'll drive the most miles, we'll make the most calls. I mean, we put the work in here on the East Coast. Again, we're not just limited to Virginia. I think that's good and bad. It forces us to really draw a wide net and then start to filter things down. For us, we like to tell guys, there's so many good players out there. So then we are looking at some of those intangible things that come through. You know, does the kid jump through the phone? Is he really a basketball guy? When you ask him about his daily workouts, does he have a plan? You know, you guys can tell, like when you're talking to a guy, there's certain guys that are really regimented, and there's certain guys that are just kind of going through the motions. They're good players, but they haven't really, they don't have that specific plan. Like those little things for us are really meaningful. You know, we want to get guys from winning programs that have maybe come up through the ranks and made some sacrifices, and it hasn't been all about them throughout their high school career. Like even finding those guys is important for us.
Academically, what does it take to get in?
Our average is somewhere between 1040, 1240, minimum 3.0. You know, when we go any lower than that, certain guys could get in, but package-wise, we typically are not competitive with the other schools recruiting them.
Okay. I mean, you have great tuition, though. The tuition, I mean, that's for a top, 100 national university at $42,000 with aid. I mean, that's pretty low on the totem pole when it comes to paying.
It's a great deal. Certainly I'm biased. I know there's some great schools out there. I think Matt and I were talking too, maybe last week it was, but the coaching tree too, I haven't even touched on, but it was like, why would a guy from California who maybe even has the NESCAC recruiting them? I mean, you guys have phenomenal options out there. You got Whitman out there. Why would he choose RMC? And I don't know. We're going to find out. If one guy does, I think it's because, academically, maybe he doesn't fit that profile of the NESCAC, or he just wants to be the big fish in our pond, so to speak. Or maybe he wants to coach. We've got a great coaching tree. I mentioned the guys before me, and Mike Rhodes at VCU, Nathan Davis at Bucknell. Greg Marshall is an 85 alum at Wichita State. We've got Sean McAloon, head coach of the national team at IMG. And then you've got assistants everywhere. I mean, Mike's staff at VCU, a number of those guys, Jamal Brunt, JD Byers, have either played or coached with us at Randolph-Macon.
When it comes to admissions, are you guys on rolling admissions, or is there a set deadline to like guys to apply to?
We are rolling admissions, so we don't have the early application deadlines and things like that. Typically, our recruiting is done. We get on guys early, but a lot of our guys are making decisions February, March, April. a lot of times as they see how the scholarship schools are going to play out for them.
That's awesome. I mean, that's huge this year too, especially.
Yeah, this year I'm curious to see how it goes. You know, we have some questions too. You know, typically recruits are coming to us for answers, but we have some questions too. We don't know. We got a big class coming in. I'm curious and excited to see what they have to offer. But we got some questions kind of as we navigate this season.
Coach, what was it like having Coach Rhodes be so close by at VCU? You know, what was that like for you, either as a coach or for your team? And just, you know, what you know, him in addition to some of the other coaches you mentioned, what are some of the kind of lessons that you picked up from them, all pretty successful Division I level coaches?
Family, loyalty. I mean, those guys that we don't just talk it, but they live it and breathe it. I mean, I could go on and on about Coach Rhodes and what he's done for me personally, but also our program. I mean, he's, you know, Division III All-American. His career is well documented. So he really, he looks out for those guys. He's been back to speak to our team. He's watched us play. He's seen us practice. He's allowed us to practice at VCU. He allows any of our guys, coaches and players, to go up there and watch that team. I mean, what a great gift. You know, they're 15 minutes away. So, yeah, it's been a great resource, and our guys are incredibly grateful. And, you know, Nathan Davis is the same way. Just two mentors that continue to pour into me. You know, I talk to Nathan regularly, maybe once a week. And so that loyalty, that family, the care that they have, they want to see it continue to do well. And you know, so the pressure's on us to just keep moving it forward and keep appreciating the guys that have come before us.
Yeah, definitely. And I think a lot of the same way that the players kind of help create culture, obviously the coaches, they kind of instill that culture and it carries over. You mentioned in the beginning, Coach, kind of having like a blue collar feel to your program. For, you know, a player that might be watching and wondering what does that mean to them when the players, when they show up day one through, you know, their final year at RMC, what are they getting out of a blue collar type of culture?
Man, great question. So I'll try to fly through, but I would say preseason, just think of it like this. You get on campus, preseason, we'll go, you know, and most of this is player driven with us not being in the gym, but it'll basically be 2-a-days for 4 days a week. In other words, they'll lift Monday, Wednesday, Friday, but on Mondays and Wednesdays, they'll also condition in the morning. And then Tuesdays and Thursdays, they'll get in for skill workout, but Tuesdays and Thursdays and Saturdays, they'll also play. So, you know, we like to tell recruits, I was a Division I assistant for 6 years, and we run this like a Division I program. We were Division II back in the 80s. You know, guys are just used to putting in the work. So it's that championship DNA. It's that environment that we're looking. And we want guys not to just shy away from it. That's just the minimum that we do. You know, we want guys in there working with purpose as much as possible and just pulling, you know, the boat rises with the tide. So pulling those other guys with them.
Yeah, I love that. No, and I think, you know, it's evident. It's, you know, helped your team have a ton of success. You showed some of the numbers earlier, but man, you guys have done a great job, Coach. And we really appreciate you being on here with us tonight. Hopefully, opening some new opportunities for players, maybe on the West Coast, or maybe other players on this call that didn't know as much, to give them a chance to get to learn more. But with about 1 minute left or so, is there anything we didn't get a chance to touch on or talk about that you wanted to kind of wrap things up with for the night, Coach?
Oh, man, if it's not this year, one of these years there's going to be a big-time West Coast elite player that wants to get into coaching, and you know, we're going to be the program. Hopefully he can dial into this. No, I want to just – I'm super grateful to you guys. You're building something. I don't know anybody else that's put together as many quality – just the setup that you have, the access then to go back and watch this on YouTube. I'm incredibly grateful for this opportunity, you know, the platform to talk about RMC. It's a great school. It's a great program. And, you know, just really appreciate this, guys, the chance to be on here and talking with you guys.
Yeah, no, it's our pleasure, and we really appreciate you staying up late on the East Coast with us. And I know you got some kids running around, so you're probably ready for bed soon yourself. But we look forward, hopefully, to seeing you soon, Coach, whenever that time comes and we're able to get back in the gym, and you know, hope that you can be a part of, you know, our events. And if anybody does have more questions or wants some more information, we've included Coach's email in the chat box. I'm sure you'd love to hear from you guys. But in the meantime, please stay safe, be well. We look forward to hearing from you soon.
Thanks so much, Matt, Scotty. Appreciate you guys. Thank you.
Take care, Coach. Have a good night.
All right, see you.
Love to welcome our second speaker of the evening, the head coach of Kalamazoo College, our good friend Nick Giard. Welcome to the show tonight.
Yeah, thanks, Matt. Really appreciate it. This is an awesome opportunity for me, and just to talk about Kalamazoo College and our program. And this is obviously a really good platform for us. So really appreciate it.
Yeah, no, we appreciate you, and I know myself and Scotty have had a chance to get to know you pretty well over the past couple of years. But for some of the players or families that are on the call, give us a little bit of background, kind of what brought you to Kalamazoo.
Yeah, I'm from here in Michigan. I'm from Ann Arbor, and I was recruited by a lot of the high academic Division IIIs in the Midwest, and ultimately ended up going to Michigan State, where really just for financial aid reasons, and it worked out really well for me. Made the team as a walk-on, and that really kind of opened a lot of doors for me to get into coaching, having a chance to learn from Coach Izzo. And my first 2 years out of college, I was at University of South Florida, where I worked for two different head coaches. Had a chance to work for Orlando Antigua in his first season, and then spent my next 2 years at SIU Edwardsville as a director of operations, and kind of the same thing. Learned from a first-year head coach who was, coaching in the Sweet 16 as an assistant the year before, and so had the opportunity to learn from some first-year head coaches. And then my past 2 years before I got to Kalamazoo, I was an assistant at Williams College in Massachusetts, and that was awesome for me just because to that point, I was always kind of thinking that my goal is to coach in Division I. That's where I want to be. But having the chance to be at Williams and competing for a national championship for 2 years, at surrounded by guys that are not just really good players, but just awesome people and great students that are going on to be CEOs and lawyers. I realized I wanted to be at an academic school where we're selling more than just basketball. You're choosing Kalamazoo for reasons other than just basketball, and I wanted to be at a place where we could win nationally, and we can definitely do that here at Kalamazoo. And I'm really excited. I never thought I'd have an opportunity to really put my roots down somewhere at this point in my career, and so it just really worked out timing wise, and this is honestly a dream job for me. So I'm super pumped about it and excited to talk about Kalamazoo.
Yeah, no, we're happy to have you. And just like our last speaker had a connection to a previous Tuesday Night Talk guest, you yourself worked for one of our previous Tuesday Night Talks guests. So it's all tied together, man. It's all one big happy coaching family.
No doubt.
But yeah, incredible opportunity. I can only imagine to get to be around Coach Izzo and all the stops along the way till now, and brought you to Kalamazoo. So share us a little bit more about kind of Kalamazoo and what gets you so excited to try to bring in players and their families.
Yeah, I'll go ahead and share my screen. I've got a PowerPoint to go through. Let's see.
Awesome.
Cool. So, this is a little bit of everything in terms of, talking about our program and our school. I'll go ahead and dive in. So we're located in Kalamazoo, Michigan. You can see Kalamazoo right here on the west side of Michigan, about 45 minutes from Lake Michigan. You've got Chicago about 2 hours west, and Detroit 2 hours east. So really good location, and we'll talk a little bit more about the city of Kalamazoo, but I think our location is definitely an advantage for us. We've got 1,500 students from really all over the world, 13-to-1 student-faculty ratio. So Kalamazoo is very relationship based, and you really are encouraged to get to know your professors, and you'd get to know our president on a first name basis the first month you're on campus, and everyone just really supports each other. And so we try to keep the class sizes small, and you'll be challenged here at Kalamazoo, but as long as you're putting in that effort, and your professors know that you're invested in their class, they're going to help you succeed and be successful. We're a liberal arts school, so I think whatever you're looking to study, this is a really good option for you. Forbes had us ranked as the number 24 college in the Midwest, and we compete in the MIAA, which is mainly Michigan schools, as well as Trine from Indiana. Hope and Calvin are two of the kind of national names in our league, and Albion has a top 25 team coming back this year, so giving some of those teams some shout outs. But it's a really strong league from top to bottom. And coming from Williams, being in the NESCAC, one of the strongest conferences in the country, I thought that there'd be a noticeable difference, and there hardly is. It's a really strong league from top to bottom, great coaches, great program. So it's exciting. Every game's a challenge. So this is my background. I talked about it a little bit just now as I kind of introduced myself, but I'm just really thankful, honestly. I've had a lot of people help me along the way to get to each of these places, and I've had a chance to now really be at every level and be a part of some of the most winning teams in the country, as well as some programs that didn't win as much. And so my time at Michigan State, obviously that was definitely something that really shaped me. And as a walk-on, you're forced to bring that energy and enthusiasm every single day, and I think that's kind of translated to how we try and operate every single day at practice. I spent 2 years as a GA at South Florida, 2 years at SIUE, and then my past 2 years at Williams before I got to Kalamazoo is really, I think, what really shaped me. You mentioned Coach App from the previous Tuesday night talks. They went to the Final Four the year before I got there in 2016, and that was really a team full of sophomores, and he was the D3 National Coach of the Year that year. So and he got the job when he was 28, which was my age last year. So I really kind of look at him as a mentor, and we're really, in terms of the team building and the leadership development stuff, we're trying to do a lot of the same things that we did at Williams. And I put this down here that Michigan State and Williams have each played in 8 Final Fours in the past 23 years, which are more than any programs at any level. And so that's just, and so I say that because, obviously those teams are talented, but it really just starts with the people that we brought in and having a really strong culture, guys that, care more about their teammates' success than their own. And that's not easy, but that's, when you have a locker room full of guys who are selfless and guys that just love basketball and are also, great students and great people off the court, you're going to have success. And so that's really what we're building here at Kalamazoo. So leading into this, this is what we want to be about. We talk about celebrating bench warnings. We want the refs to come over and tell us to sit down because we've been standing up too much. And so this past year 1 was definitely, really about just establishing what we're about moving forward and really laying that foundation, building winning habits. And then down here you have our 3.3 GPA just to, we don't expect anybody to be perfect. And, Kalamazoo College is going to challenge you, but, we just expect our guys to give their best effort in the classroom. And we're looking for guys that are, excited for that challenge, not just coming here to play basketball and kind of go through the motion. So I'm proud of our team for, last winter really attacking the classroom. I think we had 4 guys with the 4.0. So that's, not easy to do. So we are really looking to build a national roster, which is why, having the chance to talk with West Coast Elite and be at last week's camp in Chicago, which was a phenomenal camp for us to be at. This stuff is huge for us. And, we're building our roster on shooting and selflessness. So we run the Princeton offense, where we really just want to space the floor, and really similar to what Coach Merkel was saying, we want to have that freedom within structure. So we do a ton of 3-on-0, a ton of 5-on-0, to really just get really, really good at those reads. And that just makes us really hard to scout. We're always looking to get layups, dunks, and open threes. So like I said, we're building the roster around guys that can shoot it at a high level. And then I should have probably put this first. The most important thing is that we're looking for leaders in our locker room. We want guys that are going to be tremendous students and just be self-motivated to be the best versions of themselves. And obviously that's really broad, but we want guys that are going to be able to work a 9-to-5 internship after their sophomore year, after their junior year, and still find time to get in the gym at 7 a.m. or after work. And that's, again, not easy to do. But that's how you'll be successful for the next 40 years. And that's how, ultimately we'll be able to win championships here. And, our location, I talked about it briefly at the beginning. This is why I think we can build a national roster, along with our academics that I'll talk about a little bit. So we're 45 minutes to Lake Michigan. These are 2 photos of Saugatuck, Michigan, just a nice little touristy town about, like I said, 45 minutes away. As soon as the weather warms up, it's definitely worth making the trip out there. We're 1 hour to Grand Rapids, which is another really good city to visit. We've got a couple schools in our league there, and that's the nearest bigger airport. We've got a smaller airport here in Kalamazoo that you'll be able to occasionally fly in and out of, but Grand Rapids is usually your best bet. And then we're 2 hours to Detroit, 2 hours to Chicago. That's an easy Amtrak. Hop on the Amtrak. It goes directly from Detroit to Chicago and stops by Kalamazoo. So pretty easy to navigate around the Midwest. The city of Kalamazoo itself, it's an awesome city, and we're right across the street, literally right across the street from Western Michigan University. So our school, we've got 1,500 students. It's a nice size school, beautiful campus for our size. And then right across the street, you got the big university, 25,000 students. So Kalamazoo is a big college town, 75,000 plus people. This is downtown Kalamazoo, which is literally 2 minutes from campus. So, just not very often do you get a high academic liberal arts college in a setting like this. And so, again, this is why I'm really excited to settle in here and be here for as long as I can be. Some photos of campus, not photos of downtown. Here on the bottom left, this is actually Western Michigan's football stadium. I think this was probably the year they were undefeated about 3-4 years ago when, every football Saturday, unfortunately, probably not this fall, but you've got all the tailgates going. You can hear the cannons going off. So on our, typical recruiting visit, we'll be at a Kalamazoo College football game, and across the street, you'll hear the cannons going off when they score a touchdown. It's just a really cool fall environment. Just a lot of stuff going on. And then these photos I just took from my cell phone walking around downtown. I lived downtown this past year. It's awesome. Just tons of restaurants, a lot of things going on. So our guys definitely make their way downtown. Like I said, it's just 2 minutes down the road. Just got a few photos of our campus. It's a good sized campus for our school. So it's just go through these briefly. This is on the left is Academy Street that kind of splits campus in half, and you can see a little bit of the skyline in the background. So yeah, same thing. We just took this with our camera on a nice day earlier this summer. So Kalamazoo has what we call the K plan, and the K plan is really your loose guide to your 4 years at Kalamazoo, and it really allows you to make your 4-year experience unique to yourself. So your 4 years might look completely different than one of your teammates who's studying something completely different. You might choose to study abroad while he doesn't, or you might go to Costa Rica, he goes to Madrid, you might join this club, whatever it is. You can really customize, your 4 years to meet what you're looking for in your college experience. So first and foremost, we have an open curriculum, meaning, you can take any classes that sound interesting. You don't have to declare a major until the end of your sophomore year. So a lot of guys come in either undecided or thinking, it's maybe business, maybe, engineering, or I'm like, those are two completely different things, but all right. So, but I think that's great. Come in and just take classes and whatever that sounds interesting, and figure it out along the way, and connect with our upperclassmen, talk to them, and connect with our alumni and see what they studied, and really just, find your way along the way. Studying abroad is a really cool part of Kalamazoo College. 70% of our students will study abroad for an entire term during their time here. And we are on trimesters. So instead of 2 15-week semesters, we've got 3 10-week trimesters. And that's great because, as a college basketball player, you can play your whole season, go home for spring break, and still study abroad for that entire spring term. And we actually had 4 of our juniors this year that were going to study abroad in Madrid, and they were getting ready to leave right when the coronavirus stuff hit. So they unfortunately are probably going to miss that opportunity, but definitely something that people try and take advantage of. Just like anywhere, but here especially, the internships and the externships are a big part of it. And, having a really strong alumni base obviously is what helps with that. So, our alumni, they stay very connected to our program, and they do a really good job hiring our guys for internships and externships. And that's typically, again, after your sophomore and your junior year usually. But whether that's in the Kalamazoo area or, back home in Florida, Chicago, California, wherever that may be, you're definitely encouraged to get that experience during the summertime. And then the last part of it is your senior individualized project. A lot of schools have their honor students doing this stuff, but Kalamazoo considers all of our students to be honor students. So this is part of our curriculum. I talked about our alumni support, and this is a huge part of it. This was my first season this past year, and to have the alumni support already kind of established was awesome for me. We had this alumni day here on the left. This is one of our home games, and I think we had 4 different decades represented. That's 5 different coaching changes along those 4 decades, but these guys still remain really connected to our program. They're the same guys that are hiring our guys for internships. They're supporting us, hosting us for team meals and things like that. And this photo on the right, I snapped this from a cell phone video I had on my phone. This was when we played a team in the Indianapolis area, and we have a lot of alumni in the Indianapolis area. So they paid for our team to go to the Lakers at Pacers game, and our seats were up in the nosebleeds, but we ended up able to go sit on the court side, watch, the Lakers and those guys warm up. No one cared about the Pacers, even though the game was in Indianapolis, and these guys are getting here or like waving the flag on the court while, they're introducing the starting lineup. So just, again, obviously a cool thing that we got to do, but mainly just to have that support from the alumni, especially in my first season. I'm one of the newest members of the Kalamazoo basketball family. That's huge. So we have a unique situation right now with our current roster where most of our returners are actually going to be seniors this year. So of our 9 returners, 7 of them are seniors. We'll have 1 junior, 1 sophomore, and then we've got 5 freshmen coming in. So I just put these guys on here. I just to kind of give, we won't go through them individually, but, we're really looking to pair up a really strong 2021 class with this group of 5 freshmen in 2020, and really excited about this group. They, just going back to what I was saying earlier, these guys are, leaders. These guys love basketball. They're tremendous students. They're going to, be gym rats, and we're looking for, guys that are going to be ready to step up and play right away. We'll be young, but this time next year we'll have a team with mostly freshmen and sophomores, and that's exciting. I mentioned that we went to the Final Four at Williams with mostly sophomores, and so in the 2021 class we're continuing to cast a national net and build a roster around shooting, and was really excited to be able to kind of start to execute the vision in year 1, where we have Sam Coleman on the bottom right, who was coming from San Diego, where he won the state championship as a junior at Loyola Country Day the year before last. And then, Gabe Sharp on the bottom left, coming from Tampa Prep in Florida, guys that are great fits for Kalamazoo. And also I'm just excited to, continue to hopefully bring in guys from all over the country. So this past year. We, again, it was a transition year for us. We finished the season really strong. We were playing our best basketball at the end of the season. And along the way, we, did a lot of good things. This was just one of our milestones. We broke the school record for made threes. I think we're going to break it probably again 3 out of the next 4 years, just based on, who we're trying to bring in. So just to kind of summarize what I've gone over, there's a few things that we didn't have a chance to go over, but I really think that Kalamazoo is the total package. We're a highly ranked liberal arts college. It's a close-knit campus that's really focused on relationships, getting to know your professors. Got the tremendous location, both, geographically in the Midwest and just an awesome city in Kalamazoo. I think we play a fun brand of basketball, and, I'm happy to hopefully meet some of these guys that are on the call via Zoom later on this month, and maybe go through some of this offense and just talk through this stuff. But I think it's really fun to play. And then this year specifically, we're really recruiting the most talented players we can get, but also the best people, best fits that we can get that are, going to be ready to step up and have an early role and, possibly see some minutes right away, which I think is pretty exciting as we, build this thing up. And so that's the last thing is, we're looking for leaders excited to help build Kalamazoo into a national program. And, we haven't won on a national level since really the early 2000s, late 90s. We've been to one NCAA tournament at Kalamazoo in I think 1997, and but that's not to say or to discredit all the really talented players that played here in between that time. These guys are still super connected to our program. They're lawyers at Jones Day, CEOs at Wells Fargo. Like, these guys are super successful and we're great players. But we're really looking to take that next step. And these guys are those alumni that I'm talking about are kind of going to help us get there by continuing to support the program and connect with our recruits and with our current players. So, that's where we're at, having a chance to listen to Coach Merkel. Obviously, they're a well-oiled machine at this point, playing in the Sweet 16, and that's how we were at Williams each of my 2 years. We were top 3 in the country, had the number 2 defense in the country each of those 2 years. And so it's exciting because I really think that we have the potential to get there sooner rather than later. And so I think the 5 freshmen we have coming in are, we're super excited about. And then the 2021 class will really solidify, how quickly we'll get there. So that's a little bit of everything. I don't know what time it is right now, but I'll go ahead and stop sharing my screen.
Coach,
Cool.
Can you talk about when you were at our Chicago camp, what you were looking for at the all-academic basketball and what catches your eyes in those kind of events? Because, there's not a lot going on at this point.
Yeah. I just showed the photo of those 5 players, and 4 of them are perimeter players. One's a forward. So from a positional standpoint, we're really looking for some size and some length on the wing. We want some 6'5", 6'6" guys that can shoot the ball, and obviously who doesn't, but I know that's what we need in the class. So first, that's what we were looking for first and foremost, was guys that fit that. But then a lot of it is obviously we're looking at your academics. I didn't mention it in the presentation, but Kalamazoo is actually test optional, which I think is pretty helpful as from a recruiting standpoint, just because, I know a lot of people put a lot of pressure on those test scores. So we're test optional, but we're still looking for guys that have good test scores and great GPAs, because that's how I know you're going to be successful at Kalamazoo. But what else we're looking for is, honestly, guys that, aren't afraid to talk, that are clearly, used to being the leaders of their team, that are playing hard from start to finish, that are competing, even though the wins don't really mean a ton. We want guys that are competitors. And, I showed those freshmen before, but they're all coming from winning programs, and that's huge for us. So all those little things are really important for us. Just the body language, just the attitudes, just how well we were able to, it's really nice to work those camps because we get a chance to interact. So, like, how coachable are you, or how talkative are you when a coach goes and introduces themselves? Like, those are things that matter, because from a skill standpoint, it's very easy to determine how talented someone is just after watching them take a few shots, if they're, if they have the length and things like that.
What about the pre-camp, when it was like emails, highlights, live streams on occasion? How does a kid get on your radar in that aspect?
I think a little bit of everything. This off season's been different for everybody, and this has been my first full off season here at Kalamazoo. But the social media has actually been really helpful for us. Like I say, early on, we started building our list just by almost going through some of those. I mean, there's obviously a million different ways, but I think it's definitely good as a student athlete to promote yourself on your social media by cleaning it up first and foremost. I think it's good, just cleaning it up so it's mainly just focused on basketball, if that's what you want to get out of it. But posting your highlights on there, maybe pinning your highlights, making sure that your GPA is on there, maybe a contact email address, just making it very clear that you're what you're looking for. If you are looking for an academic school and you don't post your grades, then you're probably going to get looked over. But it's not, I guess, we'll read every email, we watch every highlight video, because that's what guys should be doing. And that's what, that's one thing that I wish I did more of as a recruit, 10, 15 years ago, was was promote myself more, because I kind of just thought it was going to happen, and it doesn't just happen, especially in an off season like this. So the more you can send a personalized email with your highlights and express a genuine interest, and not just, mass email every single coach in the country, really decide what is important to you and then target those schools, because I think coaches are a lot more, receptive to responding to emails that they know is somebody put some time into.
That's so true in this environment too.
No doubt. And we do it. So I just talked about like social media, emails, we do everything. We've been streaming, we've been, on the phones with whether it's with recruiting connections, we try to cast as wide of a net as we can, because, I know we need to bring in a bigger class this year of 6 or 7 guys as we build our rotation. So I'd rather, be on the back end having, tough conversations about what your role might look like, rather than scrambling to just find, anyone we can get last minute. You know what I mean?
No, that's true. And then Kalamazoo, it's a top 100 liberal arts school, top 50 undergraduate education, top 50 best value. What does it take to get in, and what are the costs associated, and what are the that level of aid that the university gives?
Yeah, I think we do a good job with financial aid. I wouldn't say it's as good as it can get. I know Williams, I don't think they ever had anybody not able to attend because of financial aid reasons, at least in Coach App's 5 years. But so to get into the school, I'd say a 3.3, 3.4 higher would make you safe, but the higher it is, the better your financial aid package would be, obviously. So if you're in the low 3s, you're going to probably get in, but not get much of a package. And then you'd be looking at paying, closer to full tuition. And 98% of our students will receive some academic aid. So full tuition with room and board is around 60. I think it's 50 before room and board. And similar to what Coach Merkel was saying, I think the average student, at least in my 1 year of kind of figuring this stuff out, I'd say pays about half of that. But, we'll factor in, again, we're test optional. So we factor in your GPA, like the classes that you're taking. So we want to see you taking AP and honors classes, and then your writing sample, which would be your essay when you ultimately apply. So obviously that's a conversation that we would have further down the line, but that goes into the financial aid part of it too. Did that answer everything?
That was great.
Sometimes Scotty asks a lot of questions in one, so you got to get it.
Mega questions.
Coach, I just had a question. I know now with, at least here in California, our high school season is getting pushed back late into 2021. And I know a lot of kids in different parts of the country are also seeing their seasons get moved. And I'm just curious for you, whether it's your time now at Kalamazoo or just in general in your coaching career, how have you viewed players that have maybe relocated, different high schools, different club teams like that? Is that something that is a red flag to you? Is that something that you kind of understand the situation of our current times? And, how do you value that kind of in your recruiting process?
I think you definitely wouldn't want to have any sort of a general, like, cross somebody off if for that reason. You obviously want to – every situation is completely different. But for us, I think there's so many players out there in the country that fit what we look for from a basketball standpoint. There's just a lot of really talented guys that will be really good Division III players, and as you guys know, really good Division III players are, low Division I players. And so, there's a million guys out there that are the right fits for us. So it's just a matter of us finding them and also then them obviously realizing that we're the right fit for them. So as we go through that process, if somebody's transferred, even if it was just one time and it was because they didn't get enough playing time at their last school, or it was for some basketball reason that, they faced some adversity and they didn't push through it. It really just would completely depend on the situation. But, when you see guys, again, another part of it, sorry to kind of jump around, is us being efficient with our time. So if we've seen somebody that's transferred 3 times, he might have good reasons for transferring, But when we need to figure out, okay, which 10 guys should we be calling, and 3 of them, 3 out of 13 transferred twice, we're probably going to skip those guys. So obviously every situation is different. You never want to cross anybody off without knowing what the situation is. But I think it's always good to battle adversity and go through it. And because that's what's going to happen in college. You're going to get benched. We're going to lose a game that we shouldn't have won or shouldn't have lost. You're going to disagree with coach. Something's going to happen. How are you going to respond? And so we want to find guys that are able to push through that stuff, if that answers that question.
Yeah, definitely. And the last quick question I had for you, in your experience as a walk-on, can you just talk about kind of like how that was for you? I know there's a lot of players that, are kind of, hey, maybe I go to a Division III school and I can be a good player, or maybe I look at being a walk-on at a D1 school. So can you just tell us a little bit about what that experience was like for you and kind of how you were able to earn that opportunity?
Yeah, I think that's a good question to ask, because I think every high school senior would love to be a walk-on at, a high major school. And some parts of it were obviously awesome. Playing at the Breslin Center was awesome. But a lot of the stuff that you think is great kind of wears off right away, and then it's a straight grind from start to finish. Your life, whether you're in the Big Ten or low Division I, your life is going to revolve around basketball and mainly just basketball. And that's not a bad thing by any means, but you also have, I missed Christmases when I was coaching in Division I. I barely saw any friends the year I was a walk-on at MSU, and so you have to make a lot of sacrifices, and you still have to make a lot of sacrifices to play in Division III, but at the same time, you still do have a little bit more balance to focus on your academics, to see your family around Christmas time, to have your summers to work that internship. So that's the main thing, is having that balance. And then from a basketball standpoint, as a walk-on, you're essentially a practice player. And again, that's awesome. I was going up against NBA players every day, but, I missed basketball. I missed having a chance to go out and compete and win games. And maybe, obviously every walk-on is a different situation, but it's you have to, it can't just be about, I want to put the jersey on and this is the right decision for me. You got to weigh all the options. You got to talk to, there's a very big difference between being a Division I walk-on and a successful D3 player. And from my experience, again, now I'm biased because I'm coaching at Kalamazoo, but I think being a Division III player is just a lot more rewarding if it's the right situation.
Yeah, no, that's I appreciate you sharing that, because I do know that's something that Scotty and I try to help people on a lot, is navigating that process. So appreciate that, Coach. We got about a minute left. So is there anything else we didn't get a chance to talk about? I know we kind of breezed through a lot of stuff, but anything you wanted to say before we wrap things up?
Not a ton, other than I really appreciate you guys having me on, and appreciate any high school athletes that are on the call, and shout out to any of our current recruits that decided to hop on here. But yeah, would love to hear from as many of you guys as possible. If you want to reach out via email, and if you guys wanted to set up another, I'm talking to all the guys listening, any sort of a virtual Zoom call where you break down this offense in a little bit more detail, I'd be happy to go through this stuff and meet you guys. So thanks again for having me on. This is awesome for us, and so I think it's just a win-win for everyone. Really appreciate it.
Yeah, no, appreciate you joining us. Again, Coach's email is down in the chat if anybody wants to reach out, find a time to connect with him offline, or you can find it on the website as well. But Nick, appreciate you joining us tonight, man. Be safe. It was great seeing you last week, and hope to see you again pretty soon.
Yep. Thanks, Matt. Thanks, Scott. Appreciate it.
Everyone, Coach.
Have a good night. Take care. See ya.
What's up, guys?
Coach, welcome. We appreciate you.
How we doing?
We're doing well. How are you?
I'm doing great. Just excited to be on this with you guys. Just got home, made my kids some dinner, and listen to these two guys, and just excited to get going. So,
well, if you have any leftovers, send them to me and Scott. We get dinner time. It's always tough during Tuesday.
Well, listen, I have 3 teenage kids.
So we're sponsored by Pizza Hut and KFC and the always tasty Taco Bell. No leftovers though with 3 teenagers. So sorry guys, maybe next time.
I can't imagine any leftovers. Well, we're really excited to have our third guest of the evening, Coach Mark Jensen from Whittier, here in the great state of California. Coach, appreciate you joining us tonight. And for those who might be on the call that are either unfamiliar with you or unfamiliar with Whittier, can you give us a little bit of your background?
Sure. Look, before I do that, let me just say thank you for you guys, or to you guys, for doing this. I've been tuning in, and mostly to watch my other SCIAC coaches give their little spiel, so I can kind of bust their chops later. But honestly, it's been a learning experience. There's over 400 men's basketball teams at Division III across the country, and we don't always get out and compete against those guys, and it's just hard to cross paths sometimes. So to kind of sit, listen, and learn about other schools and what other coaches are doing, it's been a learning experience for me, and I'm sure for the kids that are on these calls and listening, it's really awesome what you guys are doing. So, in that same vein, when I was a young high school basketball player, I grew up here in Southern California, didn't know a whole lot about Division III schools, high academic schools. I just figured I'd get a scholarship to, a Cal State school or something. And when that didn't happen, I was lucky enough to have a friend who played at Whittier College, invited me to a game, and I was pretty blown away by the beauty of the campus, what the school was all about, and really the talent level at Division III. You never go to a D3 game. You don't really know what it is until you go experience that in person. And so for me, that was a big eye opener. I played at Whittier College, and I'm back coaching now. So this is a really neat experience for me to coach at my alma mater. When I was at Whittier, I was a history major and graduated, and got married soon thereafter, and went to grad school and was planning on being a professor. That's what I wanted to do. I was passionate about it. And my wife and I went away to grad school, went up to the state of Washington. And as I was attending grad school, family friend of ours knew that I played college basketball. And he said, hey, the coach at our high school, he was the principal, this family friend. So the coach at our high school needs some help. Would you like to help him? The coach was Craig Elo, former NBA player. If you guys are old enough, a lot of you guys would know that name. Anyways, went and just said, okay, I'll help out for a year, not thinking anything of it, and fell in love with it. Came home one day and told my wife, look, I think I want to be a basketball coach and not a history professor. And bless her heart, she said, yeah, let's do it. Let's go for it. So we came back home to Southern California, jumped into coaching, did the JUCO thing for a few years. And then just, one day, my former coach at Whittier College reached out to me and said, hey, do you want to come be on my staff? And I said, sure, let's do it. And the rest is history. I was there 12 years as the assistant at Whittier. And then 3 years ago, I took over as the head coach. So that was kind of my path, and glad to be there. It's really fun to be back at my alma mater and try to get this thing going to a point where we're competing for championships within our conference and taking that to the next level.
Wow, Coach. So you've been at Whittier for almost 2 decades, whether that was as a player, as an assistant, now as a head coach. So you probably know Whittier just as well as anybody. So, tell us a little bit.
I know it well.
Tell us a little bit about maybe some of the things that intrigued you when you were going through this process, or maybe some of the things that you kind of like to talk about to recruits and families as you're recruiting them to come be student athletes for you.
Yeah. So, what's interesting is I listen to the other coaches talk, just the similarities between all these Division III schools, right? So what drew me to Whittier, and I think what draws a lot of kids to schools like ours, are a lot of the things that all these coaches have mentioned. The small class sizes, the connection with professors, the chance to compete right away. Just a lot of those things that make going to a small college a great experience. And so Location was a big one for me. We're right smack dab in the middle of Southern California. If you took a pin on a map and just dropped it right in the middle of Southern California, that's where we're at. We're right on the LA Orange County border. We're get on the freeway and go half hour west, you're at Santa Monica or Manhattan Beach, and you go south, you're in Huntington Beach or Newport, and it's just a fantastic location. So staying nearby and being able to enjoy what Southern California has to offer was a huge thing. And I think that's important or, attractive to our recruits as well. I mentioned the class sizes too. Whittier has been around since 1887. We have 100 years of men's basketball history. And that's something that kind of jumped out at me too when I was a player is just seeing, and other coaches have talked about this as well, seeing those from eras past come back, give back to the program, come to games, support players, that kind of family thing that you get at a small college like Whittier. That was attractive to us. The small student body too. I mean, like I said, 1,700 students, 12-to-1 student to teacher ratio, really get a chance to dive into whatever it is you're passionate about academically. I think that's a big deal. I mean, like I said, I didn't even plan on being a basketball coach. I fell in love with the academic piece that Whittier had to offer and wanted to, fell in love with history and my professors and how they approached that and taught that subject. And I thought that's what I wanted to do for the rest of my life. So, being able to do that and dive in, to a subject and get passionate about it's pretty neat, pretty cool experience. And it's what a private school education should be. What else we got? You want me to tell you a little bit about Whittier?
I mean, keep going.
Keep going? Okay.
At the back of your hand. Let us know.
All right. I mean, like I said, I've been here almost 2 decades. So, we have 30 majors. Our biggest majors are business and kinesiology. We have a really cool branch of kinesiology where our students can go in and focus on sports management. We've had several players who've got into that and have gone on from Whittier and worked with professional teams. And it's just really cool for them to get to do something like that. We about 40% of our student body at Whittier are athletes of some kind. And so we have this really neat culture on campus, this athletic culture, where we're very supportive of each other. I think I can say this safely. I think most of our conference coaches have been on these Tuesday night talks already. And I would challenge any of them to disagree with this point, but I think we have the best home crowd in our conference. There's 9 schools in our conference. And I know Scotty's been out to a couple games of ours. We have a great atmosphere. And I think a lot of that is because our student body, obviously, when half the students at the school almost are other athletes, they support each other. We support them, they support us, and we get great home games. That's one thing we try to sell our recruits on too, is that experience. Now, look, we're not, I'm seeing some of these pictures from these guys in the Midwest where, they're from smaller towns and it's just packed, and that's pretty awesome. There's a lot to do in LA. We're competing for people's attention. So it's not that small town feel. I'm not trying to say that, but it's a pretty cool home atmosphere that we provide most of the time at our home games. And like I said, I think it's the best in our conference by far. Let me pause right here for a second. And I know some of the other coaches have done this as well. And I would be remiss to not mention my coaching staff. So real quickly, a shout out to my assistants, Coach Myers, who's been with us for over a decade now, 12 years. He's been an assistant at Whittier College. He and I kind of grew up together as assistants on the staff. Still with us. You'll see him at a lot of West Coast elite events. He's an awesome guy and brings a ton of energy to our program. Coach Dowley's my other assistant, successful high school coach in the area and former Whittier College basketball player himself. Come back home like me and is coaching with us. He's kind of taken over the defense for us. And he's done a fantastic job. Hopefully our defense can catch up to our offense. I think we're getting there. We need it to be competitive in our conference. And he's done a really good job doing that. And then I have a grad assistant, Adam Marlowe, who played at UC Santa Cruz, another Division III school. And his first year was with me last year and has been a huge help to us as well. So great guys. You need guys like that who can help help grow your program, and they're just fantastic guys. So I had to give them a little shout out. Okay.
Oh yeah, we love your assistant coaches. You guys have done an amazing job recruiting our events and being around. Coach Myers has done a heck of a job. Coach Daly as well. Gotten a chance to know Adam. So yeah, we love those guys.
Yeah, good dudes. Good guys, and guys, frankly, that are on my staff, because they get it, right? They know what it's about. They understand the Division III thing. They are doing this for the experience of our young men who come through our program. They don't have egos. They love it, and they love just helping those young men achieve whatever goals they want to achieve, and have a great experience at Whittier. What else? We're in the SCIAC conference, you guys. 9 schools in our conference. Like I said, I think you've had most of the coaches in our conference on your calls already. You know, shoot, you what else you got for me? You tell me, and we can just chat.
Scotty has all the hard hitting questions, so I'll
Let's go, Scotty. Bring it. Hey, before you hit me with the hard ones, let me give you the easiest answer to the questions you sent out to the coaches, which was MJ or LeBron or other. Right? For me, it's going to be MJ. That's my era, right? But man, if LeBron keeps doing what he's doing for another 5 years and ends up, all-time leading scorer, I don't know how you could argue against that. You know what? Half our kids would probably say Kobe, though.
Sure.
A lot of our players in the last, 10 years would we've gotten arguments over it. They'd probably say Kobe. I'm a huge NBA fan, so I love those kind of debates. Our guys love them. We have a lot of fun talking about that stuff. But I go MJ. If you put a gun to my head.
Fun fact about Whittier College: Space Jam was filmed in one of their gyms. Fun fact. I know that 'cause I've been to Whittier enough times.
This is true. There's a scene of Space Jam that was filmed in our old gym down the middle of campus. This is true. Another fun fact, and this one I kind of hesitate to share with recruits sometimes because I don't know how they lean, but we do have a former president of the United States that graduated from Whittier College, and that's Richard Nixon. Like I said, I'm always, should I mention that or shouldn't I? I don't really know, but anyways, he's a Whittier College alum. Oh, for those who don't know, our mascot is the Poets. We're kind of proud of that. We're the only Poets in the whole nation.
Wow.
And a lot of people would ask, why the heck are you guys the Poets? Our the founder of the college, John Greenleaf Whittier, was an American author and poet. When it came time to choose a mascot, we decided on the Poets. So we're proud of that fact.
We're going to be loaded up for Whittier Trivia Day of our camp, so we'll get it going. Scotty, keep going, man.
Coach, do you guys just recruit out of the high school, or do you look at transfers also?
We look under every rock and every leaf possible, Scotty. We do have a lot of transfers, but we're not strictly married to looking, only at one thing. We're going to look and see where we can find the best players possible. And I think we have a niche. I do. I think each school is slightly different. And within a conference like ours, where we have super high academic schools like Caltech and Pomona-Pitzer and Claremont, frankly, we're not going to get a lot of times. We're just not going to get the same kind of kids that they do. And so we have to be creative, and we have to understand what our niche is. And sometimes that means getting transfers. A lot of times that means getting transfers, and they've been good to us. And so, yes, we recruit both.
You guys have some serious studs out of high schools, though, that you guys have coming up through your ranks. Colosi, Chino Hills. So, you also do really good recruiting the high school area.
Yeah, so. And Colosi is one of yours too. We've again, I won't take a lot of credit for this. I have great assistants who go out and find those kids as well. But, Southern California we're pretty blessed to be where we're at. It's almost a blessing and a curse because there's so many kids here that can play, but there's so many schools too. And so we're constantly competing with scholarship schools. I heard some of the other coaches, I think both coaches mentioned tonight, you're looking for that kid who's talented and could probably play at the Division I level, but for whatever reason doesn't or slips through the cracks. And those are the kids that make differences at our level. And like I said, we're fortunate to be here in the greater LA area where there's a lot of kids. And we don't
Can you talk
strictly
about
have
the?
kids from.
Oh, go ahead.
Go ahead.
No,
I was gonna say we don't
it was a little
strictly have
delay.
kids. We don't strictly have kids from LA, right? We've got mostly West Coast kids. This year we were fortunate enough to get a kid from Atlanta and one from Connecticut and Seattle, and so we try to reach out as much as we can. But say about half our roster are Southern California kids. Sorry, Scotty.
No, I was saying, you guys get really good alumni support. Every time I come to Whittier College, we have a new locker room or going on, and the administrations put a lot of emphasis on the school getting upgraded also. Can you talk about all that's going on?
Sure. So we do. We have fantastic alums. It's about 2 years ago, we had an alum who is a lawyer. He's done really well for himself. He lives out in Las Vegas, and just a basketball nut, right? Played 20 years or so ago and stayed attached to our program, and came to us and just he loved his experience so much at Whittier and constantly talks about it, that he came to us and said, hey, well, let's do a new locker room and let's do it right. And was generous enough to give us a gift so that we could do that. And we were just thankful for that and blessed. And our guys are blessed for it because they're pretty spoiled, and they would tell you that when it comes to our locker room. You've seen it. It's pretty first class. But yeah, we have alums all the time that are reaching back and helping us out. We're, like I said, 100 years of men's basketball history. There's a lot of guys who love their experience and are willing to give back, and we just hope that continues. I'll kind of throw this in here as a little side note too, is one of the ways they really helped us as well is we like to I'm a travel nut. I travel as much as I can. And I know Coach Merkel mentioned that they traveled in the off season overseas to play professional teams and give their kids that experience. That's a part of our program as well. We started that about 15 years ago. We've taken our team to Costa Rica, Spain, Australia. This summer we were actually supposed to go to Singapore and Malaysia and give our guys that experience. We talk a lot about experience in our program, right? We want to give them just this awesome experience that they can remember for a long, long time, and international travel and being able to compete against pro teams in the off season is kind of a special thing that the NCAA allows us to do, and we take advantage of it. We go and we use it when we recruit. We talk to kids about it and having that experience. And, our alums help us in being able to it's not cheap to do that, so they help us out when it comes to that. So that's just one of the things we talk about a lot, and we offer to our recruits. You come play for us, you're going to get that experience, and it's paid off for a handful of our guys too. I also, on another little side note from that, I also coach an all-star team. At the end of every season, I take 10 seniors from our conference and I go take them to Europe and we go play with hopes that they get noticed. And they can perhaps go play professionally, or at the very least, they have a really cool experience in their college career. And so a lot of them have had the opportunity to do that as well. So again, experience, life experience, things they'll look back on, remember for the rest of their lives. We try to give that to them as much as we can.
What skills do you look for when you're at these camps? I mean, Coach Myers is everywhere. He's at practices, games, high school games. What do you look for? I know you're talking about you're getting the offense going, and you've changed your style a little bit over the past couple of years. What skills do you look for?
Well, I'd like our guys to be able to shoot and pass and play defense and rebound. Did I miss anything? Did I miss something? No, I think I covered them up. Look, they got to be good all-around players. I think shooting more than anything as the game has progressed has become increasingly important at almost every single position. We try to take advantage of that. We shoot a lot of threes. We play with a lot of tempo. With our guards, we try to find fast guards that can get paint touches, break down a defense, collapse the defense, make a good read, kick out to shooters. So speed's something we look at. Size is always nice. Hard to come by at our level sometimes. But wing size is important. But really the ability to shoot. And frankly, I think what's really important is an understanding, and we try to look for this as much as we can, understanding of how to play with four other guys at the same time on a court. I just see so many kids at different events who think it's a one-on-one competition, and that doesn't. And for those kids who are out there listening, that doesn't do it for us. We got to see that you can play and you understand the game. You can play with 4 other guys and make them better, and that's really important to us. We talk a lot about scoring together and getting stops together and doing it as a unit and having that understanding that it's not just about one person and everybody contributes. So, yeah.
Coach, I appreciate you mentioning your assistant coaches. I know myself and Scotty are both assistants at our high schools that we work at, and you'd be surprised. We've had a lot of head coaches on, and not everybody does take that opportunity to introduce them. So I appreciate that, and I'm sure they do as well. But I think a lot of that also comes from your time spent as an assistant, right? And having an appreciation for what that job entails. Can you tell us what is maybe one lesson that you learned as you were coming up as an assistant coach that prepared you, or maybe more helped prepare you for when it came time for you to actually take over at Whittier?
It's a great question, and I think there's a lot of answers to that question. First off, you're right. Spending that many years as an assistant coach and doing that has really made me thankful for what our assistants do. That's number one. Number two, if I didn't mention them, I'm sure I'd hear crap from Coach Myers at some point later tonight. So I had to mention them. Coach, it's a fantastic question, and I don't know if, gosh, I'd have to kind of sit down and maybe write out some answers to that, because there's so much you learn as an assistant. There's so much you learn about things you don't like and you wouldn't do, as well as things that you take with you as you kind of move over one seat and take over. It's all just a giant learning experience. I heard Coach Russell White from Kalamazoo give his talk a couple weeks back, and he talked about he was a high school coach for all those years, and gets to college, and now it's like, oh crap, like I don't know anything anymore. Like you gotta just keep learning and evolving, and I've always felt like that. I've always tried to be constantly learning and challenging myself and challenging my own thoughts and beliefs and philosophies and seeing what else is out there. I'm a huge student of the game. I'm kind of consumed by just watching the game and seeing what other people are doing and what can we take from that, and then how can we incorporate things, and so I'm just always learning, or trying to, at least. I don't think that ever stops, or shouldn't. I don't think that should ever stop. And I try to communicate that to my assistants. We try to have a very open relationship about what we do and thinking about outside the box. I think we kind of have to. We have some really good teams at the top, really throughout our whole conference. Teams that we're trying to track down and beat on a regular basis. And like I said, we don't necessarily get the same kind of athletes as they do, and so we gotta be creative. We gotta think outside the box. And I think as an assistant, that was really fun to be able to constantly just challenge my head coach and say, hey, what can we do that's different? Where can we find an advantage? And try to take that with me as a head coach as well.
Definitely. And the last question that I had, Coach, we talked a little bit about kind of your alumni support and the network that you have, and also the amazing opportunities that are here for some of your students to get out in Southern California, being close to LA, and a variety of different job opportunities. So for your alumni, do most of them typically stay in the Southern California area? Do a lot of them go all over? You mentioned traveling. Your players, I'm sure, get exposed to a lot of different cultures and locations when they do travel. So are guys staying local, or are they getting out and about? And what are some of those places that some of your alumni are working now?
Yeah, it's all over the place. We've had guys go do graduate school in England and gotten into the investment and finance world and spent time on Wall Street. We've had those kind of guys that get out and do that. We've had guys who stay local and are high school basketball coaches. We have an alum who's coaching in Israel right now, and so I would like to think that our opening doors and giving these guys experiences to see things like that and see the country and see the world a little bit has had an effect on them. Study abroad's really big. I didn't even mention that at our school, but it's big as well. Our students get a one-time scholarship to study abroad during their time at Whittier College. And so we encourage our guys to do that. We encourage them to get out and see the world. And, they're all over the place, Coach. I'd say like about half our roster is Southern California kids. So we got kids spread throughout the whole United States doing everything, like I said, from investment banking to coaching high school to, gosh, I know I'm missing a bunch, but they're all over the place.
No, it's awesome. I know, between tonight's webinar and also later on YouTube, we'll have a lot of people from different parts of the country that I'm sure would love to come to Southern California for college, and then who knows where it will go next. So it's cool to see that people are kind of spread out all over. Well, time is running low for us, Coach. We've been really happy to have you on tonight, and just wanted to give you an opportunity last minute or so here if there's anything else we didn't get a chance to talk about, or maybe we skipped over something that you wanted to bring up just before we kind of end things for the evening.
No, I mean, I know you guys had your little list of questions, like the MJ or LeBron questions. If you guys have any more of those, throw them at me real quick. We could go rapid fire if you want to.
All right. I got a quick.
You got something?
One for you. Who is your favorite team to watch right now in the NBA? You said you love watching the NBA.
Man, that's tough. I like what OKC's doing.
Remember, this is supposed to be rapid fire, Coach.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Okay. I mean, I'm a Lakers fan at heart, so I haven't watched the Laker game tonight. I haven't recorded. I'm gonna go watch it when we hang up here. But I mean, just pure as a fan, the Lakers. But God, I watch anybody. And just try to learn.
Clippers.
What? Clippers?
Clippers. Come on, the best team in Los Angeles. What are we talking about?
You might be right. You might be right, Scott. You might be right. We're gonna find out.
We'll see.
Well, Coach, we're hopeful to get to see you again soon. I know you mentioned some of your assistants that have done a phenomenal job staying connected, but you guys are close by. Hopefully, we're able to get back in the gym soon, and when that time comes, we know we'll see you guys there. But really appreciate you joining us tonight, Coach, and hope you're staying safe and being well, and can't wait to see you again soon.
Appreciate it, guys. Thank you.